Let us pray first. May I request someone to lead the prayer, please? Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Good morning, class. I will call your name in alphabetical order. Say present if you're here, and I will mark you absent if you won't respond after 5 calls. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We will start with Alviana, Ashley, Bianca, Frencher, Guinevere, Jack, Josh, Justine, Ken, Pablo, Stel, Zakia. Okay, everyone's present. Very good. Now let's proceed to our discussion. What was our previous lesson? Okay, our last lesson is all about the 8 parts of speech. Now, what are the 8 parts of speech? Bianca. Okay, the 8 parts of speech are noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Now, let's move on. I will show you a picture and kindly tell me what is the difference between the 2 sentences in that picture. Guinevere, what is the difference between the 2 sentences in that picture? Yes! In this sentence, the first sentence has no comma, while the second one has. Okay, now does the comma affect the meaning of those sentences? Yes! Sorry. The first sentence means the speaker invited someone to eat grandma. The speaker wanted to eat grandma. On the other hand, the second sentence means the speaker invited grandma to eat with him or with her. Okay, so that's how important punctuation marks, that even a single comma could change the whole meaning of that sentence. Our lesson for today is all about punctuation marks in English grammar. Our objectives. At the end of the discussion, the students are expected to define the punctuation, differentiate the main types of punctuation marks, and construct sentences using punctuation marks. What is punctuation? Okay. Punctuation is the system of symbols that we use to separate sentences and parts of sentences and to make their meaning clear, just like our example earlier. And each symbol is called a punctuation mark. Punctuation is essential in writing. Punctuation shows where sentences start and finish. Back when we were at elementary, it was already thought that a simple declarative sentence starts with a capital letter and ends a period. Okay, and lastly, punctuation makes writing easy to understand. Just imagine a written output without commas, period, and other punctuation marks. It would be vague. It would become unclear for us as readers. It would be hard for us to understand it. These are the main types of punctuation marks in English grammar. The period, question mark, exclamation point, comma, semicolon, colon, dash, hyphens, parentheses, brackets, braces, apostrophe, and quotation marks. Let's proceed on the first one. What is period? French term. Okay, period or full stop. Period ends a sentence. Please do remember that a sentence is the expression of a complete thought. So it has sense or meaning, it is understandable, it has a point. So we should end a declarative sentence with a period so that it can move, or so that we can move on to the next point or to the another point. We also use period for abbreviations if the last letter of a word is not used. Example, the abbreviation for Monday is mon or mon. So at the end of that, after the letter N, we should put period. Next, or another example is continue. The abbreviation for the word continue is cont or cont. So after T, we must put period. We also use period in email and internet addresses. But in this sense, no, we read it as a dot. Example, asleep at lunchtime dot. Next is comma. So if the periods means full stop, how about the comma? How do we use it? Okay, comma means pause. Comma is the most popular mark of punctuation. Comma is used to make the meaning of sentences clear, just like the example earlier. In this example, I love eating my family and my puppy. We can change the thought or the meaning of that statement if we put comma after the word eating and after the word family. So it would become like, I love eating my family and my puppy. So it means that the speaker or the subject I love eating. He also loved his family and he also loved his puppy. Comma is also used to separate items in a series or list. Example, Mom bought apples, pears, grapes, and mangoes. In this example, comma were used to separate a series or a list of fruits. Lastly, comma is used to pause in a sentence. Example, once upon a time, there was a little rabbit. Next is question mark and exclamation mark. What is question mark and how do we use it? Yes, question mark. We use question mark in interrogative sentences or in questions. A statement which asks a question shall attract an interrogation mark. For example, what is your name? So that sentence is an interrogative sentence and we must put question mark at the end of it. Exclamation mark, on the other hand, is used to exclaim over something, be it a dramatic confession, a warning, an expression of anger, joy, after a strong imperative sentence, etc. Example is, what a victory. What are these punctuation marks? Hey, can naman tell me where's the colon and semicolon here? Yes. Let's see. Colon is used after a statement, usually an independent clause that introduces a quotation, an explanation, an example, or a series. Typically, a colon is used when the second sentence clarifies or explains the first sentence. Examples. First example, me and my sisters are really excited. We're going to Disneyland. Okay, so the first statement, me and my sisters are really excited. It is a independent clause, meaning that it can stand on its own, or it doesn't need to depend on the other statement for it to be able to understand. And the second statement, we're going to Disneyland, is an explanation why the subject, me and my sisters, are excited. Okay, and they are joined together through the colon. Second example, she had two obsessions, movies and ballet. Third example, Kisses said, are you ready for the test? In this example, the colon is used to show a quotation. So it is to show that the quotation, are you ready for the test, is from Kisses. The third example is a speech from the subject, Kisses. Last example, my favorite fruits are apple, banana, grapes. So in that example, colon is used to show a list of fruits. Next is semicolon. Semicolon is used to connect independent clauses and show a closer relationship than a period does. Semicolon is used when you want to form a bond between two statements, typically when they are related to or contrast with one another. And lastly, semicolon can be used to assemble detailed lists. Example, the ice cream truck man drove to my house today. He had big hairy knuckles. In that example, the first statement, the ice cream truck man drove to my house today, is an independent clause. And he had big hairy knuckles. The second statement is also an independent clause, so meaning both clauses can stand on its own. And they show close relationship. Kumbaga, they are related to each other, and they are joined together through the punctuation semicolon. The second example, we set out at dawn. The weather looked promising. Both statements are also independent clauses. They are related with each other and they are also joined through semicolon. And lastly, the conference committee was attended by delegates from Paris, France, Austin, Texas, London, UK, Stockholm, Sweden, Colombo, Sri Lanka, and Mumbai, India. In this example, the semicolon were used to assemble detailed lists, to assemble or to show the detailed list of those who attended the conference committee. Next is what they call these punctuation marks. Who is who? Which do you think is the dash and the hyphen? Okay, let's see. Okay, the hyphen is the shorter one, and the and dash or the dash is the longer one. The dash, or it is also known as M dash. Actually, there is another one pa, which is the M dash, but let's focus on the dash in general. Dash is used to set off a word or phrase after an independent clause, or to set off words, phrases, or clauses that interrupt a sentence. Sometimes, however, you might wish to place special emphasis on the component, but commas are too weak to serve this purpose. If this is the case, you may wish to use dashes for added emphasis. In this example, Linda Simpson, the president's most trusted economic advisor, will resign her office during today's press conference. The phrase "the president's most trusted economic advisor" is added to show who is Linda Simpson. We place the dash before and after the statement "the president's most trusted economic advisor." So that phrase are just placed there to add a special emphasis to our subject, Linda Simpson. On the other hand, hyphen is used between the parts of a compound word or name, or between the syllables of a word when divided at the end of a line. Example, his out of tune bagpipes are giving me a headache. Out of tune. Okay, we have another example here in the picture. Mother-in-law versus mother-in-law. Okay, so without hyphen, mother-in-law would become or would mean that a mother who works in law. But if we would put hyphen, it would mean biyanan in Tagalog. Okay, for you to be able to understand it more, we have another example here differentiating the two. Okay, please do remember that a hyphen joins two or more words together, while a dash separates words. Okay, hyphen joins and dash separates. Examples of usage of hyphen. Run down, up to date, son-in-law, 32, 2 feet. In these examples, each single words has its own meaning, but when joined together through the punctuation hyphen, it creates a whole new meaning. Okay, examples of usage of dash. You may think she is a liar. she isn't. She might come to the party, you never know. Okay, so in these examples, the dash were used to set up words or to separate words that interrupts a sentence. Next is, what do you call these punctuation marks? Let's So these are the braces, parentheses, and brackets. We usually encounter these punctuations in math, but we also use these in English grammar, just like in writing essays, passage or text in English. Okay, so brackets, parentheses, and braces. These are used to set off material that is not very closely related to the rest of the sentence. They usually give extra information. For example, the findings of the research, referred to Appendix 2, are quite surprising. And Typhoon Haiyan, known locally as Yolanda, struck the Philippines on November 8, 2013. So in these examples, parentheses were used to before and after the phrases na referred to Appendix 2 and known locally as Yolanda, just to give extra information to the statements. Okay. Next is slash or oblique, most often used to represent exclusive or inclusive, division, and fractions. Okay, in math 10. And a date separator in writing. We also use slash as a period sometimes in written poetry. The shift of lines is conveyed by the use of slash. For example, the sun came, spoke of light to me, the sun gave us fame. So in this example, the slash or oblique serves as the comma or the period in written poetry. Next is apostrophe. Apostrophe indicates possession or ownership and where a letter is omitted. For example, Zacchaeus bag and Guai's cupcake. So in this example, uh, it shows or it indicates that the owner of the bag is Zacchaeus and the owner of the cupcake is Guai. Okay, next is quotation mark. Quotation mark is used to mark out speech and when quoting someone else's speech. For example, give me liberty or give me death, my brother said. Okay, so that statement, the statement give me liberty or give me death, are quoted through quotation mark because it is someone else's speech. It is the speech of the subject brother. Okay, that was the last quotation mark. Did you understand our topic for today's class? Okay, if that's the case, can you state at least 3 punctuation marks? Um, Crunchter. Okay, very good. How about style? Okay. How about weekend? Okay. If that's the case, I want you to group yourselves into 5. Group yourselves into 5 and choose your leader. Construct your own examples using at least 5 punctuation marks. Write it in a one-whole sheet of paper, and the leader will send it to our group chat together with the names of the members. You have 10 minutes to finish your group activity. You may start now. And now for our individual quiz. Write your answer on a 1/4 sheet of paper and send it to our group chat, 2 points each. Ready? Number 1. Blank is a system of symbols that we use to separate sentences and parts of sentences and to make their meaning clear. Again, blank is a system of symbols that we use to separate sentences and parts of sentences and to make their meaning clear. Number 2. Each symbol is called a blank. Again, each symbol is called a blank. Number 3. These punctuation marks can be used to express strong feelings in written English. Again, these punctuation marks can be used to express strong feelings in written English. 4. If periods are also called full stops, what punctuation mark indicates a pause? Again, if periods are also called full stops, what punctuation mark indicates a pause? Last, quotation marks are put or placed blank the words being quoted. Again, quotation marks are put or placed blank the words being quoted. Okay, after you finish answering, you can send your answer to our group chat. And now for assignment. Write a 45 sentences essay explaining the importance of punctuation marks in English grammar. Write a 45 sentences essay explaining the importance of punctuation marks in English grammar. Okay, so that will be all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for lending your time. Get